Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. A couple weeks ago, John Arborist approached me and asked me if I would be willing to do this. I was more than happy to. And to make this very personal for our new interim president at Kansas State University, I thought I'd try and dig around and find some old cadet records since he started his academic career here at K-State. I'll tell you, those things are locked up tighter than Fort Knox. I don't know what was going on during his cadet career, but his military career far surpassed anything. But today definitely is my pleasure to introduce retired General Richard Myers, our new interim president here at Kansas State University. He took over in April of 2006 by being nominated by the Kansas Board of Regents. President Myers is chairman of the Kansas State University Foundation Board of Trustees and a foundation professor of military history and leadership. He and his wife Mary Jo serve as co-chairs of the Innovation and Inspiration Campaign. General Myers was born and raised in Marion, Kansas. He received his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Kansas State University in 1965 and a master's degree in business administration from Auburn University in 1977. He is a retired four-star general in the United States Air Force and served as the 15th Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff from 2001 to 2005. As chairman, General Myers was the highest-ranking uniformed officer of the United States Military Forces and served as the principal military advisor to the President, Secretary of Defense, and the National Security Council. The university's General Richard B. Myers Hall, where I work, is home to the Air Force ROTC and Army ROTC programs and is named in his honor. General Myers presented the 118th Landon Lecture Series at Kansas State University in 2000. So if you will today, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Kansas State University's interim president, Dick Myers. A warm return and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be with you. And the ROTC records, I don't think they're locked up. I hope they're destroyed. So a lot of you know the story, but the training report from summer camp, which we did in those days between our junior and senior year, when I came back to campus, Lee Ruggles was a professor of air science at the time. God rest his soul. And Lee said, as I was walking through the halls one day, he says, "Hey, Cadet Myers, have you seen your training report from?" It was actually down at Williams Air Force Base in Tempe, Arizona, where we went those days. Have you seen that training report? I said, "Nope, haven't seen it." But I knew I did well because they always pick a top flight, the smallest organization, the top flight of about 15 of us. And of all the flights, we were the best flight. So I felt like I contributed fairly, and so I said, "Well, it must be doing good." He said, "Here, read this," and it was not very flattering. In fact, the last line from the officer that had to fill that out, some Air Force captain, actually like the meeting today. I was convinced that he had confused me with somebody else who said, "Cadet Myers does not have much of a future as an Air Force officer."
That is funny.
Now, it wasn't a lot to look at in my college days. I mean, I admit that. There was nobody in the detachment or in the Academy of Engineering or on campus or my in-laws, parents who grew up, that thought I was going to amount to much. I don't know why they all tolerated me, but they did. And so I guess maybe I earned that. It certainly was, you know, when you're told something sometimes that you just says, "Well, that's just not quite my perception." Usually we're pretty realistic about who we are and what we are. That one was a shocker. But then Colonel Ruggles saved the day by saying, "Well, we know you better than they do, and this is not going to affect anything." And I had a pilot training slot, and he saw to it that I got all the advantages that I needed to get my commission. And so he was terrific. And I call that leadership, and we had that in spades. And, I missed not having him around now that I'm back for a while. So coming back to Manhattan, it's a treat. Unexpected, was not on my radar until Dennis Mullen here in town from the Board of Regents called and said, "Would you even consider coming back to Kansas State?" Kirk has resigned, of course, and leaving. I said, "Well, I'd even consider it, but I have a lot of questions. And my whole family's in Virginia. That's where I live now. And I'm blessed to have the kids and the grandkids within, about a 50-mile radius. That's where life is, and that's where I operate out of. So I have to think about this. So can we start thinking about it?" Well, the next day, he had somebody come up to campus. I was coming here to teach, and he had somebody come up and meet with me and go through some of the details and logistics of it. And within a week, way earlier than I thought they were going to announce it, as I was showing some inclination to do it, they just announced it.
Okay.
It might not have been that bad. I must have nodded somewhere in there. I told her, I got this call. I was down in Kansas City with my wife and my sister-in-law. We're going out to lunch in some little deli, and I get this call. Hey, just so you know, we're going to announce this at 1 o'clock today. I'm thinking, announce what? We're going to announce the fact you're going to. I said, did I say yes? I went and told Mary Jo. She said, did you say yes? I said, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But they're announcing it, so I guess we're in. And, you know, as looking back, I would have kicked my tail if I hadn't done this. You feel far guilty because this is my alma mater. It's a community and state that I absolutely love. And if they think you can be a little value added, then you better do it. And then I've since found out that being here on campus, given all our challenges, which I'll talk just a little bit about, despite all that, this is such a wonderful place. The students are wonderful. The faculty's dynamic. The staff, everybody is, I mean, you know who all these people are, and some of them are you people, but it's a real kick in the pants to come back and be on a university campus. And it's invigorating. And so there are no regrets. In fact, there's just more enthusiasm to do what we have to do to get ready for the full-time president when he or she shows up sometime early next year. So while I'm on that subject, some of you, I don't know how much you know about the search, but they've been gathering names, and so that was going to happen through August. The report from the search firm is that, and I'm not on the search committee, I have nothing to do with it, but the reports are the search committee is really happy with the folks that have applied. I mean, ecstatic, I guess, is the word. So we have apparently a decent pool of folks that will apply. They'll start doing interviews next month in September, and they hope to have 2, 3, 4, 5 that they'll recommend to the Board of Regents to choose from to be the next president here at Kansas State University. So that's, to me, that's all encouraging. At one point, I really cared about the timeline. I said, I'll do this to the end of the year, but I got to get back to my other life. And I've since modified that. It's whenever they find the right person to be here, I'm out of here. If that takes a couple extra months, which it may, obviously, depending on what other people are doing, that's fine with me. Because there's a lot of things to do, and it's, like I said, it's a kick in the pants. So I enjoy it very much. The challenges. The biggest challenge, I think, and the one that causes the most angst and the most uncertainty on campus is the uncertainty surrounding the state budget and their grant to the universities, not just Kansas State, but all the state universities. And on top of that, I think, for people that invest their lives and their career in higher education, the feeling you get from listening to folks in the legislature that many do not value higher education and what it brings to the state. I think it's a huge mistake. I'm involved in now 3 company boards. One that I just left was John Deere. I know on all the companies I'm with, the biggest issue is talent. How do we attract talent? Northrop Grumman, their CEO, is coming in a couple of weeks to speak at a London lecture. He will tell you that that's the biggest issue they have is getting talent, getting people that are engineers or scientifically or technically trained folks and educated folks to come into the workforce. That's the biggest issue we have. And here and it's also how this region is going to grow. I mean, we don't have beaches to ask people to come to. We don't, we have to have a talented workforce to attract the kind of business that we want in this region. It's certainly true, I think, throughout the state. So to not value or to show there's a lack of appreciation for what higher education brings to the state, to the region, to the nation, I think it's really short-sighted. And what it's doing is just raising the cost of attendance for folks that would like to go on and get higher degrees. It's particularly painful for Kansas State University. We're a land-grant institution, as you know. Access is what it's all about, and part of assuring access is to make sure that it's affordable. And so that puts a bigger burden then on the philanthropy and the work the foundation does. fortunately, that's going reasonably well in our innovation and inspiration campaign. When we set a goal of $1 billion, everybody sitting around the table, or a few of us sitting around the table when that was, when we were discussing what the goal should be for the campaign. And the first time the B word came out of anybody's mouth, there was an audible gasp around the table. You know, can little old K-State, can we raise $1 billion? Is that doable? So we're over $880 million towards our $1 billion goal, and we've got till 2018 to finish. We'll finish early, and we'll do, we'll exceed the goal. But that's all needed to do what you've seen on campus, the capital projects, for scholarships, for faculty chairs, for all the myriad of things that tied to our strategic plan and vision of 2025, all tied to that, to get all that done and to continue moving K-State forward. If you're not trying to move forward in this world, your peers are, and then that means you're going backwards. So the K-State cannot go backwards. We are a great university. We want to be even better. We want to be able to provide more opportunity for students, not just to study, but for research and so forth, for faculty, and everybody, and make sure everybody gets paid a fair wage. And so that gets back to the budget. We have some budget decisions to make. In some cases, they're around compensation, which the studies have been done. Kirk would have probably been close to making a decision on this. We haven't yet, but that's one of the ones that probably will come out here fairly soon. And they'll, you know, like every decision we make, there'll be some that'll applaud, there'll be some saying, what the heck is this all about? And all of that with the uncertainty of what is the state grant going to be. Are we going to get a budget cut in fiscal year 2017, which I think everybody anticipates because state revenues are not coming in at the pace that are anticipated, and that was the base for our current budget. So we're going to have to face that. I hope, I don't know how long I'll be around, but we have developed some strategies around new freshman legislators here in the state of Kansas, hoping to get them to our state K-State campuses between the time they're elected and before the legislature starts to introduce them to Kansas State and talk about what we do and how we do it, and the importance of that block grant we get from the state every year and keeping costs controlled. There are other issues on campus, but well, the one that got my attention when I first get here, and I'll thank Jackie Hartman for this, because she knew about it probably, and I didn't. That's not, I'm just picking on Jackie because she's sitting there, but it was the camel rides that students wanted during finals week. They call that hump week. And so camels and humps, it seemed like a reasonable thing. So I think there were a bunch of camels that somebody has, and they brought them to campus, and then the PETA, I got a letter from the PETA folks. And the letter was, seemed like a reasonable letter. You know, these camels, they don't like to do this. They like to be with their families and make babies and take care of the young and blah, blah, blah. And then this is total abuse and all that. And we wrote a very nice letter back, and informed by the vet school and all the folks that were taking care of the camels, that these are some pretty happy camels, actually. They get a lot of time in the shade, they get food, they get water, and people seem to appreciate them. And then they must have, which I would expect, they must have, the leader can say, okay, barrage K-State with emails. So as the president, I probably, for the next 2 months, had 5 or 10 emails a day about what idiots we are here at K-State for abusing these camels. So we just kind of wrote that out. And I'm hoping that that was a student-run sort of thing. Jackie, you had no input. I don't think that was a student idea, and that seems reasonable. I guess I wouldn't have picked that particular thing to do, but the students seem to like it. Camels live, but there are other issues that are. I mean, that's serious how you treat animals, of course. I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of that at all, because I came here to be a vet. I didn't turn out to be a veterinarian, but that was my so that part is, we know how to do that. But we have other issues too. So we have the Title IX issues, which under Title IX, for those that haven't read it carefully, Title IX, you would say, if I passed the test around, you'd say, well, that's about gender equality in sports. So we have as many women athletes as we have male athletes. Well, it's much more than that. It goes down to discrimination, and under discrimination is sexual assault and rape and that sort of stuff. So, and sexual battery. It's a funny way to organize that law, in my view, but that's what it's under Title IX. So, you know, we have a couple lawsuits from former students that are going through the courts right now on Title IX that both allege they were raped here on campus, and that'll play out in the courts, and that's okay. But the thing that's important is that our students and faculty, everybody that's part of the K-State enterprise understands their obligations under Title IX, and then how we treat people that feel they've been discriminated against. And it's a little more complicated than just yes, no on most of the answers, like most of these things. And so trying to explain that in a way that people can grasp without having to read through the myriad of stuff is difficult. And we're about ready to, we've got an effort right now to get some communication out that I think is crisper than our previous messages, but it's important. And the bigger message is, and what I told some parents when I met with them in June during their pre-enrollment period and all that, or enrollment period, was that we've got to provide a safe and secure environment for their kids here, for their young men and women that come to Kansas State, and for our faculty and staff and everybody that works here. So that's going to be job one, and we'll do that. This is serious business, and obviously for a lot of young people, this is their first time kind of on their own, first time where they might have access to alcohol, and I can attest to, I probably made a lot of bad decisions in life. 95% of the worst were after having a drink, and fortunately, I lived through it, or showed enough, repented enough, or whatever it was, to get me to the next level. But I can talk about that. But that thing, for most of us, if we did something really stupid, probably had something to do with having a beer or something, and getting drained and going doing something stupid. So that's something we have to do. Educate to that. We show YouTube videos. We work very hard on that piece of it, trying to get Pat Bosco and supposed to be trying to alert people that, about the dangers of or the way they can get into danger and be led into danger, and that there's a lot of learning to go on, and that's got to be part of it. And the buddy system, how we take care of one another. I think I'm going to get some of your questions on whatever you want to talk about. I would just say one other thing, because it's fresh on my mind, is, you know, we have a partnership with Fort Riley, and this is, for those that know it well, this is not a superficial partnership. This partnership goes deep at the fort, and there are ways that our faculty is involved in both directions, students, student athletes, but it's not just an athletic thing. This goes way beyond that. I was just with Fort Riley and met with about several hundred officers and did some professional development with them this morning. What a good cadre over there, and how busy they are. What a gem Fort Riley is to our community, and what great leaders we've had there over time, most of whom recently all used to work for me when they were a lot younger, and are good friends. Some of you are very familiar, but I thought what I do, I mean, I see Tim DeNoble over there. He knows all this. He could have done these charts, but he didn't get a chance. I didn't. Let's see if this does it. So campus. I thought I'd just flip through campus real quick, and I can't see what they are. I can right here. So I guess what we have here is the Phase 4 of engineering is complete. If you've not been on campus and walked through Phase 4 of engineering, with donors, it is a terrific addition. Of course, this was helped along by the state and private philanthropy, and the whole notion was to grow more engineers, and that was a state initiative combined with some of the schools. You probably already know that we produce the most engineers of any school in the state, so we're the biggest part of that. But that's an important part. And then I think it doesn't show quite as right. I think that is Phase 4. I don't know. Have you seen Memorial Stadium? That's where I used to sit at football games. I'm not sure in my tenure I ever saw us win a game. The good news is it was always easy to get a seat. You could go late. If if we would score against Oklahoma. I remember this distinctly one day, it was like 40-0. Finally in the fourth quarter, with their fourth team in and our first team still working at it, we scored a touchdown. And that was enough to say, let's go to Aggie. That's all, they just took a touchdown. But the Welcome Center, we've never had a facility with this functionality, to be able to do the kind of work we can do in the Welcome Center. And it preserves Memorial Stadium, which is something we want to do, and there'll be more coming next year as we commemorate World War I here on campus, and with Fort Riley, because the Big Red One was the first division into World War I for the United States of America. So there's a lot of history that we'll capitalize on between the two organizations. But if you haven't been in there, stop by and just walk in. There's a wow factor when you walk through the door, which is what we're hoping new students and then folks that come here for placement, companies and so forth, that they have that same, wow, this is pretty good. Where am I looking at here? This looks like business. The new business building, you've probably been driving along Manhattan Avenue, you can see that coming along. It is open. It was a photo finish like a lot of construction jobs are. It was a photo finish, but faculty and staff and students are now in classes there. There's some work to do on the first floor yet, and the landscaping is they're just cleaning up around the outside of the building, but it's a wonderful building for a business school that's ranked, I think, 39th in the nation through one organization, which is, when you think about it, pretty good in Manhattan, Kansas, to have a business school among public schools that is ranked that high, and it'll go even higher with this facility, I think. The finish of that one wedge of Snyder Family Stadium, the wedge up in the northeast corner, where there's going to be a place there for the band to sit. And they were there for the first time after the pep rally, after our convocation for new students in the pep rally this last Sunday. And the band went up there, and we were wondering if that would isolate them from the students, if it wouldn't look right. It makes the band look larger because they can spread out a little bit. They don't have to sit all crunched up. It looks like larger than it even is. It's a large band. And the sound coming out of that corner is really good. I guess one thing they have to work on is they think about the lighting. So for a night game, they're going to have some kind of lighting to help them do their job. But they'll fix that here fairly quickly. But that's another example of some of the construction. Weefall Hall was a photo finish. We got the occupancy permit Friday afternoon. I think it was late Friday afternoon. And they moved in last Saturday. Hats off to the construction company. That was their goal. I think the university and some of our leadership here helped work that as well. The outside will not be done for some time. And former President Weefall will be back to dedicate this sometime next spring. He said, I don't want to dedicate it until it's all done, which is actually not a bad philosophy. So, and you can't see in the picture, but we have covered bridges to the other two halls. I think it's the Goodnow and Marlette up there, I believe, that allow them to get to the dining center here, which, according to Pat Bosco, will be the place to eat on campus. It'll be better than the athletic training table out there at West Stadium. This is going to be a place to eat. So 500 and some students already moved in. What am I looking at? Oh, I am the Union. So Union is, when I used to come here to campus to teach, that was where I'd hang out between classes, or if I needed an office, I'd go over and grab a coffee and sit there and do my work. It's disappointing that I can't walk in the door now and figure out, I mean, sometimes you walk in the door and you can't get to where you want to go, you have to go out to another door. It's ahead of schedule, and I think by the end of September, it's going to be pretty much done. There'll be some pockets that will be continually be renovated, but it needed to be with our student load. This is the south end of it, and all that class on the left is all new, and it's going to be a whole new experience for students and other folks that use the Union. So, and this is Tim Noble's building, and it's not bad. Huh?
Yeah, it's not bad.
And we got the, as I understand it, we got the HVAC systems off the roof too. And so this will be, they're in the bottom of Seton Hall, not too far from where I did my mechanical engineering labs, which were based in those days around not quite steam engines, but pretty much. It was a pretty ugly place to work. Well, that's where they have one of our nationally ranked schools over there, colleges, that's in not very good quarters. So this was another thing the state thought was important, and we've got private philanthropy helping as well to build that. And you can see there in the picture that it's out of the ground, the steel's up. And I think by fall of 2017, you hope to be in that building. You know, they're architects and they do all that stuff. They should be able to make sure it gets done on time. So I don't know if we'll have a news, but that's what's kind of coming to life right now. I don't think any more huge projects on the books at this time. I would tell you that one of the things where we need to focus is on ag. Ag has some great facilities, world-class, new, nice, or newer and nice, and they have some that are not very nice where you just can't continue to do the kind of research we need to do for the universities of the state, for the nation for that matter. So that'll be one of the things we're going to start working on here in a couple of years. Well, hopefully we can get that moving before I leave John Forrest has to think about that and figure out exactly what he wants to do. We've got a couple of ideas in mind too. So there'll be, you're continually looking at how to improve your infrastructure. And, some of it's pretty old. Some of it's go well, 100 years old or more. Okay, I think with that, I'm going to stop. And I don't know how much time we have. I know you're all over. I'm not sorry. I apologize. So, questions on any subject? No, Tom, you can't ask. I'm sorry.
Do you anticipate the Big 12 expansion coming to vote on your watch, and if so, your thoughts?
So I have a call with Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner. I drive to Omaha tonight to do some government work with Stratcom that was previously scheduled. Not operational. I'm not going to tell them where to target or anything. This is seminars on professional military ethos and that sort of stuff. But with a teaching partner from National Defense University. But it's going to be around that topic. Big 12 was bold. At the last meeting, we decided we were going to go out and look at schools that might complement. Most of the consultants we work with, they had a chart that it was very instructive to me, and the consultant would do this, of course, but the chart had aggressors, survivors, extinct. And under aggressors, they had the 4 other Power 5 conferences, the SEC, the Big Ten, Pac-12, so on, ACC. They were listed as aggressors, and they've all expanded. So they all had what they were and what they've become. Then they had survivors, and they had the Big 12. We went from 12 to 10. And then they had extinct, and I think they had Mountain West and Big East or something like that in there. And I don't like to be a survivor. Cancer survivor, I want to be one of those. But otherwise, I want to be an aggressor. And so I think the current presidents and CEOs of organizations thought we ought to at least look at expansion. And so that's what's happening. I can't tell you what the decision will be. There's a lot of politics involved. It's amazing what I'm amazed. It's kind of new to me. But there's a lot of politics involved in that. There are some schools that are actually would be pretty good fits. And I think what people have to remember is, so if we gave a school that didn't have a very good sports program today, and if you injected another $30 million a year in there for 4 or 5 years, how would they be in 4 or 5 years? And I think if we look at ourselves, I think you can kind of see what they might grow to, and find the right academic fit. So I don't know. If I can't even guess. We'll get lots of opinions. There is the thought that if we want to continue as the Big 12, that we need to grow. And so, and there's lots of, you can read in the paper all the options, and they're all out there. So I think we just have to wait and see. And I'm interested to see what Commissioner Bowlesby has to say on the phone today, and where he thinks we are. But I think that's the part of it. We're going to have a meeting, I think, in a couple of weeks now.
This is 30-day, it's premature question, but what does the fall enrollment look like for Kansas State?
Very premature. As everybody in this room knows, I know you know, if you live here forever, or some of you have, it's the 20th day after school starts is when the Board of Regents takes a snapshot. So, and we're not supposed to speculate until then. So, the only thing I'd say, don't expect big changes.
Yeah,
So
nice.
there's lots of forces at work here, but don't expect big changes. Maybe in one category we'll be looking a little better this year, but that's still, we don't know.
I know.
We have to see who shows up, who starts, who pays their bills, and off we go. So, you know this, because you know Pat Bosco well, because he's been a part of this community for a long time. With Pat, every single person we recruit to campus, it's a personal thing with Pat. It's personal. He makes it personal. The person feels it's personal. And he uses me, and I'm sure he used Kurt the same way. I'll get a note. Well, one was a young man who got an appointment to West Point. Pretty good, right? Decides that's not for him, so he applies to Notre Dame, and he's accepted there. Pretty good, right? But he really wants to come here, and he just enrolled last Saturday. And he was one of the guys that I called. I said, oh, here's my pitch for why you might want to come to K-State. He's from Wichita, I believe. Not to disclose any confidence there. But so, I mean, everything, we work a lot of them. I mean, one's on the fence, just personally, trying to influence them to come to Manhattan, come to K-State. So Pat does his team, they do a great job. Deans, faculty get involved as well. So everybody tries to do the right thing so we can get the students here, the right students here. One thing I think we're really proud of at K-State, we're the largest multicultural student body, percentage of student body of any state school in Kansas. And for the land grant, that's an important thing because it's all about access, and most of the multicultural students, I hosted some at my home that came here in June to get acclimated to the university setting. Of that group, the majority were Latinos from, guess where, Southwest Kansas, and then African Americans, and then a couple of Asians, and all first generation. And that's one of the things we're supposed to do as a land grant is to provide access and get in here. And so I personally, I think we ought to be really proud of them. So, time for one more question, then the hook comes out. This is easy. Oh, maybe not easy.
You mentioned diversity. Do you know what the current international makeup is of the student body?
Not the current one. I don't know. We have over the last year or so lost some of our Chinese. We had a pretty big Chinese student population. That has gone down, and I think due to economic conditions in some cases in China, maybe not all. So, so I don't know, and that'll be. I'm as anxious as everybody else. I want to see what the numbers are, so and Pat wants to see, so we can, work some more efforts. We got work to do in graduate school. We got work to do at global campus, the online stuff. There's a lot of work that has to be done to keep. We don't want to be 50,000, but we don't want to go backwards. Hey, thank you very much. First of all, thanks for what Rotary does in the community. I appreciate that. I'm somewhat familiar with Rotary. I appreciate what you all do in dedicating your time to issues that are important to the community. And I'll just say, for one, it's a pleasure to be back among you for whatever time I'm going to be around. So thank you very much.